As you might remember, we had this great idea about a month or two ago about bringing you a segment on a monthly basis. We thought it'd be fun to call it Keeping It Current, bringing you some electrical tips that you could enjoy around the house. And then we remembered that there's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical in town. So they've been the ones kind enough to bring us this segment. Jake Self is back on with us, and because they do so much, the conversation won't always revolve around electricity. And this morning's topic, Jake, is proof of that, because what are we talking?
This morning we're going to cover your septic systems.
Which has an awful lot of people really excited.
Yes.
Actually, it's a very relevant topic because with all the new homes going up, especially in the county, I would imagine that septic systems are every bit as used as city water, sewer.
Absolutely. And with this area, again, growing into those rural areas, you're going to see more and more of them. And people that are moving away from the city and want more land and everything else, they don't realize that there is a little bit of difference between a septic system as well as just sewer flush and it's gone.
Okay, true or false? Is part of that maintenance, if you will, the fact that you have to be very careful how you landscape your yard when you have a septic
Yes,
system?
you definitely need to be aware of where your system is installed. So in order to do that properly, get a hold of whoever your governing agency is where you're building and say, can I get a plat of where my septic system was put in so I can make sure I'm going around it.
When y'all are dealing with this kind of work at Hiller, I just referenced that you're plumbing, heating, cooling, and electrical. Mm-hmm. So where does the septic fit in? Is that because of the plumbing component?
Yes. And being known as a plumbing company, sometimes people don't realize that we also do septic. We have septic pump trucks that run daily in order to do part of the maintenance that you need to do on your system. And that maintenance includes having your septic tank pumped 3 to 5 years, every 3 to 5 years.
Every 3 to 5 years?
Yep.
Okay, do y'all do the install or just
yes.
the main? You do the install
yep.
too?
We can do the installs.
So how important is that? Because I would think if you're in the building industry right now, I mean, you've got people just running all the time. You're very much in demand.
Yes, and my big point right from the get-go is make sure you're dealing with a licensed contractor. Make sure you got the proper permits and there is a plan in place to make sure you're taken care of.
Because if you don't have people, human nature is just human nature. We're all mm-hmm. fallible beings, but if there's a mistake made, you're going to really pay for that.
It's going to be very costly, yes. Yes, and it could rear its head quicker than you think.
So are there any benefits to having a septic system over sewer?
I don't know if there's necessarily any benefits. It's just what area you live, what it requires. If you okay. don't have a sewer system available to your house, therefore you need to be on septic.
I've never been on septic, so I don't know anything about how it works. Is it that each individual homeowner has their own septic system, or if it's a neighborhood that everyone has a septic tank, they share anything?
No, ma'am. So
okay.
every individual house will have their own system that they will. Point of entry is going to be the tank where all your solids are kept, and then as the bacteria starts eating away, it becomes a liquid and it goes out to your field lines and leaches into the ground from there. So
I would imagine you have to have very good relationships with your neighbors, correct? Because if one person's not maintaining theirs, can it affect somebody else's?
It could, especially if you're downhill of them. If you notice in your yard that you have a wet spot and it hasn't been raining and you know you're on septic, there could be a potential what we call field line issue that needs to be addressed, or you're going to have something that comes up that you may not want to have.
Okay, yeah, so let's talk about that. What are the kind of warning signs, if you will, that it's time to call somebody in?
One of the first initial warning signs is, again, point of entry, flushing your toilet, as well as some of your sink drains. All of a sudden you'll start hear them bubbling, kind of a gurgling sound, and well, stuff is not flowing downhill like it normally does.
You said a sink, though, is that
yep.
true? So that's
yep.
not just in your bathroom, but if you're washing dishes and you're hearing that gurgling, that
yep.
could be an indicator?
And if it's slow to drain.
Okay.
Your septic tank is either full and you not had it pumped recently, or your field lines are saturated and it cannot take any more water. So there could be an issue to where the field lines need to be addressed.
So here we go again. If they're calling y'all for what the homeowner might think is a problem with the kitchen sink, and maybe they think the garbage disposal is an issue, when y'all come out, you'll kind of look at all of it to decide where the really root problem is?
One of the main questions that we'll ask as soon as you call in for it is, are you on sewer or septic? And that'll start the conversation of, are we going to send a septic drain specialist, or are we just going to send what we call a plumber out there?
Okay, crazy question, but is there a different way of insuring your home for your home insurance if you have septic versus sewer?
I don't believe so, but you definitely have to declare to your insurance agency that you are on either one.
They do need to know.
Yes.
You mentioned having it cleaned every 3 to 5 years. That's a big difference. That's a 2-year difference. So how do you know which to choose?
That'll be who's using the system. If it's you and a spouse, and
versus
that is
a family of 6.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. How you use your system.
Is it terribly pricey to have it cleaned?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, man. If you spread it out to you're using that daily, it's very affordable.
Okay. In terms of getting in touch with y'all, because you do so much, do y'all do estimates for free, or how do people?
Yes, we will always do estimates for free. If you call in and you don't know if you have an issue or not, and you just want someone to come out there and talk you through it, we do offer free estimates. Okay.
So here's where you will find them. And plus you'll see them, hopefully it'll be Jake, every month as they come on to keep us current. But their phone number is 299-6110. They're on Lee Highway. Their website, it's a fun one to remember. It's happyhiller.com.
There you go.
Thank you, Jake.
You're very welcome.
I can predict blue skies when you call the Mark Hike team for your next home purchase or sale.
You heard the man. Whether you're buying or selling, call the Mark Hike team, where we've helped over 3,000 families in the last 6 years.